Let's do it.
Hi everybody, Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. I've got with me today Kathy. And Kathy and we're going to talk about how comedy enables us to communicate ideas and influence. But before we get into that, Kathy, can you let people know where they can get hold of you?
Yeah, the best places are at keepingithuman.com, or if you want to get a hold of me on LinkedIn at Kathy Klotz-Guest, all one word, no hyphens. Please link in with me. I'd say all the socials, most of them at Kathy Klotz-Guest, and keepingithuman.com is the best way to get a hold of me.
And you're happy to take audience participation, heckles?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
So if there's people watching, then you're more than happy to take questions and stuff as we're going on.
Sure,
Excellent.
not a problem.
So you've actually done stand-up, haven't you?
So I started in stand-up. I started in stand-up in LA. Did stand-up for about 5 years. Then I went and did sketches and sketch work at Second City in LA. Then I went, somebody said, "You like people." And I do. Most days I like people. And they were like, "You're a people person, you should do improv." So the funny part is that, Tim, I came at comedy while I was working in tech as a writer and performer, not as an improviser, which is no writing. You're just completely off the cuff. You're developing things and putting it out there. And somebody said, you'd be really good at that. And so 5 years in, after doing comedy, stand-up and sketch, I went, okay, I'll take improv. Why not? And it blew my mind. So yes, I started.
Why did it blow your mind? What's different about it?
Definitely a different muscle, different muscle. So when I do stand-up, I've got what we call a set list. I've rehearsed it. I'm practicing stuff. I go to enough open mics, test my material, and then I do a showcase. I'll perform. Sometimes I would headline and a smaller show, and I have rehearsed. I've practiced my jokes, so I know how they're going to go.
Yeah.
And the beauty, but also the challenge about improv is that improv, there's no net, there's no set list, there's no rehearsal. You're out there, you do practice runs and practice drills, but the audience will give you suggestions live the night of, and you are creating something on the fly with other people. There's no set list.
So you're in effect you're battling your wits and you're using your and the team.
No, see that, and that's the beautiful thing about improv is that you have a team to back you up. And if you do your job appropriately, what happens is you're listening, and somebody will make an offer like, "Hey, yeah, I know we're a couple of hybrid species. We're not human, but I think a tree rat relationship could work, and I'd like to date you." And you're like, "Hell yeah, let's do that. Let's see where that goes." And I think the human mind is so wired to say no, I don't think so. And in improv, everything revolves around a central concept, which is yes and. Because yes and keeps it moving. So the different muscle about stand-up is I'm out there alone and I've rehearsed my jokes, and I might drop what we call the set list and do improv, which is what we call crowd work. I'm just going to talk to the audience. That's called crowd work. The thing about improv is that I am completely making it up with other people. So I have to remember that my job is listening to my teammates, saying yes and, making them look good. And it's a different muscle. It's a fundamentally different muscle. And by the way, I would say for people listening that yes and is such an important way that we show up for ourselves and other people in companies. Yes and is a way that we could actually be there to support other people.
Because quite often in meetings in companies, it's all about, oh yeah, we can't do that, or we did that before, rather than actually supporting people.
Right. Well, we do this a lot. Our natural human brain, it's not our fault. This is evolution. Our human brain is wired to weed out threats. So we yes, but, that will work. Yes, but. We do it all day long, and we don't even realize we're doing it. The thing is that if we do that in many times and we do it enough times, If I did it to you, Tim, and we just talked for 10 minutes and I just yes butted you, at the end of it, you'd be like, I'm done. I am not going to give her any more of my like pearls of wisdom because she just finds fault with it. And so what ends up happening is we don't realize it. If we yes but people enough times, they shut down.
Yes.
And we have to really be aware that yes and doesn't mean we have to do the thing. It doesn't mean I'm ratifying something ridiculous. It just means I hear you. Let's explore. That's very, very important because if we shut down anything we don't like, we're never going to get to the really beautiful gem of an idea that could work. And so I think if we yes but people, we are really killing our own creativity, and that really is not good.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
And you have to give the people space to be creative as well.
Yes, we have to. And I think unfortunately we are so wired to kill ideas because we're so used to criticism. We are so used to people going, that won't work. I don't like that. I already thought of that idea. Somebody else did that idea. We are so wired to hear 50 reasons why something won't work. So we kind of arm ourselves up in these kinds of environments. And the thing that I really want people to understand is that when you do that, you are killing creativity. We all say we want creativity. And isn't it interesting that when somebody comes up with an idea, we decide to swarm and kill that idea and get negative on the person. And yet, that very negative thing that we do and project onto other people, if we do that enough, we are strengthening and giving energy to that inner critic, and it will come back and kick our own ass. Because it's the very thing that's going to keep us from going, yes, and that's a great idea. You should verbalize that. And it's really important that we are able to verbalize our own and yes, and our own ideas. And the reason we don't is because we are afraid. We are afraid of other people's yes butting. We are afraid of it. And if you
maybe we should start banning that in companies or something.
Yes, stop banning it. Doesn't mean you have to do it. Get over yourself. If we want radically ridiculous, amazing, innovative ideas, we have got to encourage crazy ideas.
Yes.
And the only way to do that is to make it safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what can people be doing to enable them to start using comedy as a way to get their ideas across in business? Because it's kind of like a, like, does that mean I need to be funny, or what does it mean?
So there's two things. First of all, you don't have to be funny.
You
don't have to be funny, and you're going, woo! Listen, it helps to be funny. I'm not going to lie to you. Improv will make you funnier. Stand-up clearly will make you funnier. That's not necessary. So let me first tackle, there's two different things. There's stand-up sort of principles and sketch principles, and then there's improv collaboration principles. Let's deal with each separately. If you're going to use stand-up principles, here's the thing. Think about stories. Think about the truth. What makes stand-up funny, if you're not in an environment where you're collaborating with other people, what makes stand-up so brilliant is that somebody said something true that we're all thinking, right? And we didn't have the courage to say. So what's going to make you an influential communicator of your ideas is to say the truth. Hey, I know we're all thinking it. We're all thinking it, but this COVID thing, I don't know about you, but I am not looking forward to having to dress up again. I'm not, like, be the person to call out the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, say it, because everybody's thinking it. So the truth matters. Second of all, don't be afraid, if we're using stand-up principles, don't be afraid when you communicate to be vulnerable.
Yes.
You know, your protagonist is flawed. I'm going to say it again. When you tell a story and you're perfect and you're the superhero of your own story, the audience can't relate to you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You have to show failure.
You have to show failure. And what makes comedy so great and so palpable and so connected to us is that somebody, a comic, lowered the armor and said, listen, I am imperfect. Like, look, I've been married like 22 years. Marriage is hard. And in that time, like, did I ever consider divorce? No. Murder? Hell yes. Right? And the people who laugh the hardest I know have been married. If you haven't laughed at that joke, you haven't been married. I see you. Say the thing that we're all thinking, because now you're flawed. I'm flawed. I relate to you.
Yes.
And the other thing is, if we're going to use sort of a connected tissue here for storytelling and communication for influence, think about the rule of three. And in comedy, we have this thing called the rule of three, but the rule of three is very important.
Yeah.
And it's not just telling jokes, Tim. The rule of three is giving enough examples when we're talking about conflict in a story to humanize the protagonist.
Right.
So look, we all want to be perfect. We're not. We're flawed. We want a flawed character. But we want to know that the character has experienced some real stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So we're not talking transaction. So, like this morning, I don't know about you, but I had a really crazy morning, getting the kids ready for school because they're almost done with school. They didn't want to go.
Yeah.
There was, the complaining, the crying, the temper tantrums, but that's enough about me. So let's talk about the kids and the executives that I deal with, because that's the real crime here. When we do the rule of three, what we're doing is we're heightening the conflict and the tension.
Yeah.
And there's a strategic element that happens here. Our brain goes, okay, prove it. How bad was it? Or how much conflict? And when we do the rule of three, what we're doing is we're doing something called blocking.
Right.
And when our character meets, these blocks, that character has to prove themselves. And 3 times is a good number for heightening the conflict and then making your protagonist relatable.
Right.
So these are concepts from stand-up. Now,
yeah, carry on.
Yeah, I was going to say, now that's different, and improv is very different.
Right.
So improv is about understanding that you are not out there alone telling a story by yourself or trying to influence by yourself. Improv is about you're building collaboratively with other people. You're yes-anding other people's ideas. And the beauty about that is that you don't have to be the only person contributing. Make your partner look good and feel good. Yes, and Tim, what you just said was brilliant. Tell me more about that.
Yeah.
Now you feel like, oh, she's listening to me. And you want to tell me more. And so if we show up with a collective yes and mindset by hearing everybody else's ideas, we're going to get these amazing ideas. We don't always have to commit to building them, but it starts with us listening and being willing to do that and being willing to yes and ourselves.
Yes.
And so there's a little bit of difference between, I think, stand-up and improv. They're both equally valuable in a business setting. Yeah.
And do you think this is the thing that's going to get us heard and listened to?
I think when you show up and yes and somebody else, Tim, I 100% guarantee you it's going to change the dynamic in the room.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting here going, yes, but Tim, that's not going to work. Yes, but we already tried that. Yes, but I don't like your ideas. Yes, but your idea is craptastic. Yes, but you're like, why would I even try? She's annoying. She's horrible. She's horrific. I don't like this. Now, what happens if you give me a bunch of ideas and all of a sudden I'm like, Tim, that's a great idea. Let's build on that. Or Tim, tell me more about that. And
that.
Yeah, and I love that. I promise you, when we start to yes and, we elevate other people. We build with other people. It's not Kathy's idea. It's Kathy's and Tim's and Tina's and everybody's idea. I see Tina. Hey, Tina. We're building.
Tina makes a really great point there about elevating others. Elevate yourself.
Yes,
yeah.
Because when we build up other people, Tim, we have their backs. Now, it's not Kathy's idea. It's Kathy and Tim's and Tina's. And how emotionally invested is Tina in making sure this idea succeeds? A lot more. You know why? Because she fed into it. We yes-anded her part of it. I promise you, if you want to build something together, start to yes and other people and start to yes and yourself. That's super important.
So what can we be doing what can we learn from stand-up in business, and what are the concepts of improv that more importantly, that can we be using within business?
Yes. Stand up, I want you to realize that you're out there trying new things. You're experimenting. Stand-ups have an experimental mindset. We are out there and we know some jokes aren't going to work. And that's okay. We're out there experimenting. That's okay.
And I think I know in certain places some jokes work and some don't. I live in a particular posh area in London, and I know that when I go to a local comedy club and they stand there and tell a joke and they say, yeah, I knew that wouldn't work because it's St. Margaret's and you're all posh.
Right. Well, and that's a really important point, is that stand-up, Tim. So here's the thing, comedy, like all great storytelling and influence, focuses on the truth.
Yeah.
So ask yourself, am I telling the truth here? Am I willing to call out the elephant in the room? Look, I spent 15 years as a woman running teams in very male-dominated tech.
Yep.
And all the different teams in tech had different nicknames, right? The IT guys were the it guys, IT. The sales people were like sales bros. They were the dough bros. The finance guys were the finance guys, right? And then I was excited because they finally settled on a name for the women in my department. Kathy. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
And you can't help but laugh. You know why? Because it's the truth.
It's the truth, yes.
It's the truth. I'm telling you the truth. I was honestly, sometimes, for a good portion of my career, the only woman in my department. Yes, indeed. Or I was one of maybe 2 women. So when you hear the truth made funny, you cannot help but laugh.
Yes.
So the thing about, if you want great principles of storytelling from a stand-up perspective, focus on the truth, telling the truth.
Yeah, the power of 3, the 3s.
It is. Yeah, rule of 3. Rule of 3. Rule of 3 is very important for building tension and releasing tension. Absolutely. And I think the other part is, don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid. Look at comedy as, it's not about being funny and forcing funny. It's about being vulnerable. Yeah. And saying, this is the truth we need to call out. And I'm going to experiment here. And it's okay. Don't be afraid of that. If we look at improv is similar, just slightly different. We're talking about a group environment. And so in improv, the questions we have to ask ourselves is, how am I showing up for other people? Am I showing up? Am I showing up to have somebody else's back? This is super important, Tim, because if I'm all about me, if I'm making it about me, I am not making it psychologically safe for other people to show up as themselves and give ideas.
Yes.
So, yes, and listen, say yes, add on to it. So if you said, hey, Kathy, how about we have a party next time we meet? I'd be like, oh, yes, and let's do hot air balloons and like chocolate. We'll get hot chocolate, and then we'll do clowns. And then you might say, oh, I love clowns.
Yes, and let's get an orchestra.
Crazy, right? And here's the thing. We're going to go to these crazy places, Tim. It's okay. Not all these ideas are going to be viable. I promise you, Tim, some of those ideas will have a germ of viability. And because we got together and created them together, it's not Kathy's idea. It's not Tim's idea. It's our idea collectively created. And now you're emotionally invested in helping that idea succeed. So it becomes our idea. That's really important. I mean, it's a very important difference about psychological safety. And hey, my buddy Gary here is on here. Gary is a fellow improviser. My friend Gary Ware.
I'm glad I don't know Gary, but
Gary's wonderful. Gary is a wonderful improviser.
Hi, Gary.
He is the bomb, and Gary knows this, and I love that. I love seeing my brother from another improv mother. When we make people feel safe and heard, Tim, they feel safe to speak up and give crazy ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and. Yeah.
Right. I know.
So is there anything that we can do about improv today? I know we're like 20 minutes or what?
Sure. Do you want to do just a simple yes and exercise?
Why don't we do something? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the audience can join in as well, can't they?
They can if they'd like to. Yeah, why
Yeah.
not? So Tim and I are going to first. Let's do something. I want to just demonstrate something very quickly.
Yeah.
I want to demonstrate the difference between yes, but and yes and. Now,
Okay.
yeah, a yes, but is a no. So I'm just going to treat it as a no. It's a no. Let's get a suggestion. What are Tim and I going to build? We're going to plan something. Can I get a suggestion from people who
From the audience? Yes.
Yeah, let's get a
What are we going to
suggestion.
build? Gary, Tina, are you still there?
What are we going to build? If not, don't worry. I got you. If not,
No, I think Gary and Tina have gone.
they're gone. They're busy.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I get it.
No, Gary's here.
Gary's here.
What are we going to build, Gary? Technology is wonderful, isn't it? You're in San Francisco.
I know.
Garden.
Let's build a garden. I love that idea, Gary. That is brilliant. Yes. Let's first though, Tim, we're gonna yes but each other. And here's the goal. I need you to yes but everything I say. Just go to town. Go to town. All right. All right. Oh my gosh, Tim, we are going to build a garden. We're gonna plant tomatoes. Oh my God, and basil.
Yes, but we don't need vegetables.
Oh, yes, but I think that we could harvest the goods and make a delicious soup.
Yes, but we can get soup out of a can.
Yes, but I think that it would be better fresh because it's got more nutrients that way.
Yes, but we need it quickly. We need it now. We need to eat something for supper tonight.
Well, yes, but there's nothing more quick and expeditious and fresh than pulling from our garden out of can, buddy.
Do I need to carry on?
And scene. Right. And you see how that goes. And that's just not so much fun. Now let's try this. Yeah, it's not fun at all. You want to punch me in the face because you're like,
yes, I did actually. Yeah.
Yes, because everything you're trying to move the ball forward and you're in a meeting and somebody keeps finding reasons to like, yes, but you and shut you down. And make no mistake, a yes, but is a no. It's a no.
Yeah.
Right. You can wear a party dress, but it's still a no. We know this. Now let's try something, a little switch. Let's build a garden because I know. Yeah. I'm so I wanted to say yes and Gary's right. I'm so trained to yes and, but the exercise was yes but, and I had to
I could see she was having difficulty. Yes.
I know, because I'm so wired for yes and. Gary's right, but he's an improviser as well. And so because I'm trained, my brain goes, no, don't say yes but. Now let's try yes and. So everything, we're going to build a garden, Tim, and everything the other person says, we're going to accept, we're going to yes, then we're going to and means adding on something that moves that original idea forward.
Okay.
So, all right. Oh my gosh, Tim, I'm so excited. We are going to build a garden and we're going to put birds in there and we're going to make a bird sanctuary inside the garden.
Yes, and what we're going to do is that we're going to can we have an orchard as part of the garden as well?
We can have an awesome orchard, and I think that's such a fabulous idea because we could grow fruit and we can put little birdhouses in there and we can have little birds in there living in there protecting the fruit.
Yeah, that would be great because we'd have the birds, and then what we can also have is that we can have some beehives, and then they can pollinate the orchard so that we can get lots of fruit. And they kind of, I know that we've got birds and bees, and they're living together.
Exactly. And then we can have the birds and the bees like create some kind of magical show. And then, hey, we can always put the kids in front and say, hey, now's your chance to actually understand the birds and the bees. And it could be a comedy show too while we serve the fruit.
Yes, and what we could do is that with the fruit, we could actually make a punch. And we can have fruit punch, not alcoholic fruit punch, obviously, because of the children.
I love that. Yes, and we could have a separate bowl for the kids. Then we can have the adult fruit punch.
With the
And
vodka, yeah.
with the alcohol. And we could just, oh my God, it could be such a fun party. Now, I'm going to call it there. But we could go kind of all day. We could go for a long time on that. Did you feel that upward spiral of energy, Tim?
Yeah. It was energetic. You actually had to stop it, because about the second one, I was thinking this is difficult because I'm British and I'm not naturally gregarious. But by about the third one, I thought I'm just going to keep going, because this is like, as you said, there was an energy to it.
There's an energy to it. The beautiful thing about yes and is that what you're really saying to the person that's in front of you, or the people in front of you, is you're saying, Tim, I see you, I hear you, and I'm going to listen to your idea because it has merit. And it doesn't matter that every idea is viable. No brainstorming technique, Tim, produces 100% viable ideas. That's not the point. The point is we're going to take some of those ideas and they will have a germ of viability, and we're going to get further ahead by yes-anding each other than if we yes-butted each other. Yes,
Absolutely.
but absolutely is a no in a party dress. Just because it looks good does not mean it's a yes. I love how my friend Gary keeps me accountable. Yes, I am trained to say yes and, so yes, but is a challenge for me. But it's good. So you get the point. It's like, I know yes and may sound robotic. If yes and Tim and all those people listening isn't your jam, then don't say yes and. Because it's not the wording I care about, Tim. It's the spirit of listening and adding on that's important. So maybe you say, tell me more about that. Or I like that. And, ooh, that's interesting. It doesn't have to be yes and. The point is the spirit of yes and is listening and adding on and accepting and knowing that I don't have to build any of those things, but I'm going to get further ahead. And yes, but is going to shut everybody down. And we are so quick to do that. We got to really be aware of that.
Kathy, it's been so fantastic and insightful talking to you today. I was really excited about the comedy piece, and it's been great to get some interaction from the audience as well. I mean, this is what streaming is all about. I mean, across the world. I mean, isn't this just technology amazing? And thank you so much for your insight.
Oh my gosh, what a pleasure, Tim. I'm so glad we got to talk. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Gary. And really, honestly, everybody, truth is your friend. The rule of three is your friend. Being relatable and flawed, and celebrating that as your friend. And yes, and. Don't forget to yes and. I promise you it'll make a difference in the dynamics of your relationship. So yes and, everybody.
Perfect. Kathy, thank you so much for today.
You bet. Thank you, Tina.
Have a great day. Thank you so much. Thanks, and thanks, Tina. Thanks, Gary. Thanks so much. Bye.